Hello, this is your midweek edition of InfoHub, making the top stories for today. Education Minister assures that the long-standing issues of teachers' wages and salaries will be resolved under her leadership. The responsibility of designating remigrants will soon be handed to the Department of Citizenship. Work on the Sheriff Mandela Road upgrade project begins, and just days away from the new school term, we take a look at back-to-school shopping in downtown Georgetown. We now bring you the details of these stories and more. Education Minister Nicolette Henry assures parents and teachers that under her leadership, the long-standing issues of teachers' wages and salaries will be resolved. At a recent meeting, the minister lauded the nation's teachers for their outstanding contributions and continuous commitment to the profession.
The Education Minister yesterday engaged teachers at Hope Secondary School on the East Bank, Demerara, Queen's College in Georgetown, and West Demerara Secondary School in Region 3.
I know that you are ordinary people that do extraordinary things each and every day. And many of us, and many of you are like me. You may have one child, and some of you no children. But we get up and we come every day, and we work for the interests of the nation's children. And so I'm with you. And I will never lose sight of the prize.
The minister and team have been meeting with teachers and parents to assure them of the government's steadfast support to the education sector in the face of the current GTU strike action. She assured that under her leadership, the issue of teachers' salaries will be resolved.
This is a long-standing issue, and many of my predecessors were dealing with this issue. I'm not the first Minister of Education to address this issue, but I hope I will be the last one because I want to put this issue to rest. We will go all the way to resolve it, and we will resolve it amicably in the interest of the people of this country.
Minister Henry expressed optimism that GTU and the government will find an amicable solution on the matter.
I happen to be the Minister of Education, and it is my duty to ensure that we continue to make progress in this sector. I know that there will be times when there will be distraction and detractors, but that is life, that is politics, and that is how it works.
Should the current strike action continue into the new school term, the ministry will be activating a contingency plan whereby 300 students of the Cyril Porter College of Education, CPCE, and a number of retired teachers will be utilized. The Ministry of Education and the GTU have been meeting to negotiate a multi-year agreement. More recently, the two sides met several times in August. Despite efforts by the government to meet at the bargaining table, the GTU has been steadfast in its position that government meets its demands and have commenced nationwide strike actions. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
The conciliation talks, which was conducted today at the Ministry of Social Protection between the Ministry of Education and the Guyana Teachers Union, under the chairmanship of the Chief Labour Officer, Charles Ogle, has been adjourned until further notice. President of the GTU, Mark Lyde, stated that while the meeting was cordial, the union and the Ministry of Education were at an impasse. He explained that the union is prepared to call off the industrial action in favor of arbitration. The Ministry of Social Protection maintained that before arbitration can take place, the strike action must be called off and a memorandum containing terms of resumption has to be signed by the parties. However, since the GTU has not agreed to the terms of resumption governing the end of the strike and the advancement of conciliation, the meeting was adjourned. Stacey Carmichael now reports that the responsibility of designating remigrants will soon be transferred from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to the Department of Citizenship. This was revealed by Minister Carl Greenidge during a recent interview.
In shedding light on the remigrant system and the ministry's role in the process, Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenidge clarified that over the years, the fiscal concessions afforded to remigrants have been the source of many scandals. However, the minister said the records of the ministry do not show any significant amount of these cases, either by complaints or action by the Guyana Revenue Authority, the institution which grants the concessions.
The records of the ministry do not show, over the period up to now, any significant number of cases, either by way of complaints or by way of action by the GRA. We have, for example, I believe that a number of complaints came in regarding dealers in particular, and individuals who were simply in a business, in commerce. They brought in vehicles, sold them, and then disappeared. The vehicle was written over to somebody via a power of attorney. I believe that the record of the ministry doesn't show a large number of these.
Minister Greenidge said in 2017 there were no reports, and for this year only 2 cases were drawn to the ministry's attention. A remigrant is any Guyanese living abroad for a period of 5 years, or in the case of a student, 4 years, and wishes to return to Guyana. The person is expected to make the claim for remigrant status within 6 months of arrival.
Our records don't suggest that you've had any dramatic infringements here, primarily because we at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in defining remigrants, do not go outside the law. In fact, it is specifically overseen by one of our senior lawyers. In fact, this senior lawyer. In other words, whilst normally there's a call for discretion, we exercise none. 6 months is what the law required. 6 months is what we apply.
The minister anticipates that by October, the Department of Citizenship will take up the role of granting persons remigrant status. Training has been completed for staff of the department. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
A new pilot project in Region 7 will seek to integrate and improve the mapping and verification system for the management of land leases and forest concessions. This project will see the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission and the Guyana Forestry Commission teaming up to move forward the European Union Forest Law Enforcement Government and Trade Voluntary Partnership Agreement. More from Delicia Haynes.
An inception workshop was hosted yesterday to kick off the 12-month project, which will be piloted in Region 7. Chair of the GLSC Board of Directors, Paulette Henry, said the combining of the work of the 2 agencies meets the requirements of the EU-fledged VPA.
In preparing for the VPA, it was recognized that there are key areas within the GLSC which is needed to be developed and expanded, and which requires assistance in order to effectively execute the roles and responsibilities in relation to the VPA.
Approximately 78 leases issued by the GLSC in Region 7 will be monitored and verified under the project, which received grant funding of just under $50,000 from the Food and Agriculture Fledged Direct Assistance Program. Guyana entered in the EU-fledged VPA negotiations in 2012 and is expected to initiate the agreement by the end of this year. The VPA is a trade agreement between the EU and Guyana to ensure the legal trade of timber between these countries, especially the United Kingdom. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
Yeah. Like a pack now? But hey, where's all these things from this packet?
Hi, mister. That is the new law. Them cigarette manufacturers have to put those images on them packs.
Yeah, but where's all these scornful things they got here, boy?
Because they're showcasing the effects of cigarette. And it also says
smoking is dangerous to your health. I feel like I can change my mind.
Let's all work together to prevent cigarette smoking-related illnesses. A message from the Ministry of Public Health with support from PAHO WHO.
Thanks for staying with us. Renetta Lafleur now gives us an update on the Sheriff Mandela Road upgrade project. When completed, Sheriff Street will remain 2 lanes, Mandela will be 4 lanes, and some new features will also be added.
The contractor is currently cleaning all the canals and doing sand filling in order to facilitate the installation of the new pipes and fittings. Acting Project Manager for Donor Program at the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Mark Green, said the first phase of the works includes the drainage and relocation of the pipes.
Once you complete the drains and the pipe works, then we can start the embankment works, which is to excavate the earth. You can come up with the sand, the loam, the crusher on, and from that you'll get a surface prepared on which we'll build the sidewalk and the parking lanes. Once that is completed, we'll look to do. Then we can look to do the asphalt works, which is the pavement rehabilitation.
When completed, Sheriff Street remains a 2-lane, while along Mandela Avenue will be a 4-lane. Green said the upgraded roads will be outfitted with new features, including cycle lanes, separate sidewalks, and smart traffic signals, among others.
Along the roadway, there'll be a median. It's going to be very similar to what's on Carfest Avenue. So you won't have traffic being able to change lanes randomly and, end up in the path of an oncoming vehicle. So you'll have a concrete median, and in that median we put in the street lighting. Right? At all the major intersections, we're replacing the traffic signals.
Bridges and culverts will also be constructed and replaced, and a pedestrian overpass and roundabout are also included. Works on the approximately $6.4 billion venture are being executed with minimal disruption to traffic and should wrap up within 2 years' time. Renetta LaFleur for InfoHub.
Still on infrastructure, as part of efforts to maintain the interior road network, the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission says scales will be installed within the next 3 months to ensure vehicles traversing these roads are not overweight. Details in this report.
Manager of the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission's Special Projects Unit, Arun Richard, says a number of scales have already been acquired by the Ministry of Public Infrastructure and will be installed shortly.
I would say within about 3 months. We're still to define which sections of the carriageways we're going to put it, but they're going to be strategic such that they'll have a wide effect, so that one placement can be used to determine vehicles that would use maybe several roads, like Linden, for example.
In addition, Richard says stakeholders of the mining and logging communities have indicated their willingness to comply with the new arrangements.
From a transportation engineering perspective, we'd rather rely on the strength of the system as opposed to a gentleman's agreement. And this is why we've resorted to installing scales and advocating for more responsible use of the road. So to expect cooperation would be not the best solution, but I'm thinking to have an enforced system in place. That would be the ideal situation to aim for.
The GGMC has recently awarded contracts valued almost $700 million for the upgrade and maintenance of interior roads from Linden to Kokwani and Linden to Lethem. Renetta LaFleur for InfoHub.
Isaiah Braffett now tells us that the Central Housing and Planning Authority is looking to collaborate with the private sector to address the housing needs of Kokwani residents currently living in the area called the Camp. Details in this story.
During a recent outreach to the community of Kokwani, Minister within the Ministry of Communities, Valerie Adams-Patterson-Yearwood, visited several families who are currently occupying a number of houses in a district known as a camp area to assess the conditions of the structures.
The structure is rotten, so there's no way we can even change the columns or so on. The roof is rotten. The place is in a terrible state, and as government, we have to find a solution.
Minister Adams-Patterson-Yearwood said she has been advised by the ministry's engineer that the building cannot be saved and needs to be rebuilt. The minister said she will be seeking the support of other agencies to assist with the rebuilding and provision of aid to the families.
My plan is to speak to Food for the Poor and see if we can collaborate on this effort, because at this point it's not possible that government alone can do it. We are also looking at, in another area of Kokwani, doing 25 houses, low-cost houses, because over several years, CHMP has not done anything in that community.
The minister gave her assurance that an intervention will be made to address the issue. Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
In our final report for this evening, InfoHub takes you to the streets of Georgetown to get a glimpse of the back-to-school shopping.
The streets of Georgetown are busy as parents and guardians flock to downtown vendors as they finalize their back-to-school shopping.
Well, for me, I already have majority of my things, but for me, things this year, things has been a little cheap and easy to find.
It's been kind of hectic for me going up and down with the kids, but so far I've gotten everything that I needed. I'm just doing the last minute grabbing and that's it.
Well, I'm shopping, assisting in fact, with the shopping of the school things for my grandson. Fairly okay, yes, because I've already gotten almost everything. Fairly okay, fairly reasonable.
I done shop already for my children. I do early, mom, not the late, mom. I like do my stuff early.
Many vendors said their businesses are benefiting from the back-to-school rush as they have seen an increase in sales as the days to the new school term draws near. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
Do remember to follow us on social media and our website at dpi.gov.gy for more updates. Let's now take a look at the latest CPL match results, and of course, we leave you with your bridge and weather reports. Goodbye.
Wave your hand, wave your hand, wave your hand from the Caribbean. Wave your hand, wave your hand, wave your hand from your one number one. For me ready for the competition.